Good morning to you. You're with me, Miriam Angel, Salim Barisa, and Emmanuel Gorner. It is 23 minutes past 8. In studio, we do have Honorable Frankline Makanga from Chani Ward. Yes, good morning, Mr. Franklin.
Yeah, morning.
How are you?
I'm well.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Now, there was an incident on Saturday where a young woman's body was found. She was murdered, and then her body was cut into pieces and then put in a sack. And this gets us to ask about the security in Mombasa, pretty much. What should be done to ensure that there is safety?
I think we have security apparatus who are paid to do their job.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the things that is happening is someone must be complacent in delivering their mandate.
Yeah.
So the security apparatus, right from the county commissioner, regional commissioner, because they have their offices here, the DCI, and everyone to the village elders, they should be able to tell us this, because nobody can be killed, chopped off, all the body parts chopped off, and then dropped without anybody having come across this issue. Again, the issue of insecurity has been escalated by the lack of employment, especially in Mombasa. We are having a growing youth population, and because the government, both the national and the county government, has not been able to offer job opportunities, then we have the rising gangs, the number of gangs, especially the juvenile gangs. And also the issue of substance abuse in Likoni, it's one of the causes that has caused the insecurity to go up. So I think it's a collective responsibility, both the citizens and the security apparatus and the political leadership, to come together so that we are able to delve into the matter and get a solution. Yes.
You've mentioned employment opportunity as one of the reasons why there's a rise in security. What should be created for the young person? What opportunities should there be for the young person?
I think the president, who is Dr. William Ruto, in his manifesto, he promised Kenyans and the young people that there will be 2 million jobs every year. The question that we should be asking ourselves, has that been done? If not, why? Then once we get those answers, then we should be able to proceed from there. Amongst the jobs that we need to have the young people get is one, not the white collar jobs, but can we get something that would take them out of their hoods, out of the places where they sit and take drugs? Because it's out of idleness that these people sit together, then they start with the soft drugs, and then they end up on hard drugs. And once they are under the influence of drugs, then they are out of control. Yes.
Mheshimiwa, unafikiria kwamba ukosefu wa ajira ndio chanzo kikuu cha vijana kukosa kazi, au nidhamu imepotea katika jamii? Kwa sababu wako watu ambao kwamba hawana kazi lakini hawajaingilia uhuni. Wako vijana ambao kwamba hawana kazi lakini wanajituma na kwenda Kongowea kutafuta vibarua, na kwenda sokoni Majengo. Hata kule kwako kuna maeneo ambao kwamba mnahitaji kamba nini pale, watu wanatafuta vibarua na wanafanya kazi. Tuamini kwamba ukosefu wa ajira ndio nguvu kazi, na kama hakuna ajira, tukiachana na rais huko juu, hapa serikali ya county, nyinyi mmefanya nini kuziba hiyo gap?
You see, discipline is relative. Unaweza kuwa kijana mzuri, lakini kwa sababu ya kuwa idle, you find yourselves in the company of those gangs. Unaweza kuwa kijana mzuri, umelelewa kwa maadili, umelelewa kwa dini, and kwa miaka yako ambayo labda umekuwa shule, umefikisha miaka 20, you've been good. Lakini unapoingia mtaani kukaa katika base kwa sababu ya ukosefu wa ajira ama kukosa jambo ambalo lina ku-engage, then you end up being recruited into the devil's work. Kwa hivyo katika sababu nyingi ambazo zinachangia ukosefu wa usalama, ukosefu wa ajira ama ukosefu wa mambo ambayo vijana yanaweza waikabizi kuwatoa katika maskani, imechangia kwa kiasi kikubwa.
Unahisi kwamba department ya youth katika county huhisi kwamba ina jukumu pia hapo?
Kwa kweli serikali ya county na idara ya vijana ina jukumu, na ni wajibu wao kuhakikisha kwamba hawa vijana wamezungumziwa, wamefanywa mentorship, kama vile masuala ambayo yanaendelea katika foundation ya Swahili Port ndani ya Mombasa. Tumeona vijana wengi ambao wametolewa maskani, vijana ambao wengine tunawajua walikuwa kwa drugs na wameweza kuletwa pale wakiwa wanaongozwa na Mohamed Nur ambaye ndio mentor 001, na tumeona amewasaidia wengi ambao sisi tuna ushahidi. Sasa if a private entity can do this, why not the government that we have committed resources to that effect? That means when the Swahili Port is doing it at a smaller scale, we as a government, we have a responsibility to make sure that we do it on large scale. Just imagine if Swahili Port is able to do 1,000 youths out of their own resources, why should the county government not do 30,000 youths or 10,000 youths across the wards? It's possible, and it's by us having a significant number of youths reforming from drugs and substance abuse and bringing them out of the hoods that will impart the positive transformation in the community and in the society. And by so doing, then we shall be headed to the right direction of resolving some of the security menaces that we have in this county.
Okay.
Like that.
Tukiachana na hilo swala la usalama, mji wa Mombasa ni kitovu cha utalii eneo pana lote la pwani.
Yes.
Lakini mji wa Mombasa una dosari.
Dosari gani?
Ya uchafu. Mazingira sio masafi. Ukifika hapa KFS nyingine kunanuka kinyesi. Maji ya majitaka yametapakaa, stage kubwa ya watu kwenda Magongo, kwenda Chaani, Migadini, kwenda Mikindani, wapi. Na kwenda sehemu za Nyali, lakini kinusi ukienda Marikiti pale ndio kiini cha kuingia katikati ya mji. Harufein, yani hakufai, kuko tafya. Ni mji haupendezi, harufu mbaya.
Ndugu Barisa, kwanza nikubaliana na wewe kwamba mji wa Mombasa is the second capital city and of course a tourist destination. I think the best in East Africa, followed by Zanzibar, if in any way. Tunafikia Zanzibar in terms of cleanness, lakini kwa sababu mazingira ni kati ya kazi ambazo serikali ya county tumepewa kikatiba. When you go to schedule 4 of the constitution part B, the environment, sanitation, water, public health, all these ni kazi ambazo ziko katika county government roles. Na mahali ambapo labda tumefail ni kwamba idara husika ambayo ni Mombasa Water and Sanitation, kuna changamoto ambazo wamepitia either from funding ama incompetence of some of the staffs who are working in that department. So mimi nakubaliana na wewe kwamba ni makosa makubwa mji kama huu katikati ya mji tuwe na kinyesi. Lakini kuna hii changamoto ambayo tukianza kwa mfano na kwangu Chaani, tulipata there were so many illegal connections. When I came into office, that is on 9th August 2022, tulipata kwamba there are so many houses that are connected to sewer line without them making the formal applications and payments. That is one. Two, we are having people who just do houses, wanajenga manyumba, and then they fail to connect their sewer lines to the main sewer. So what happens is, open up to the public. And some of these things, personally, I address them as a leader in Chaani. And that's why today you come to Chaani, utapata kwamba sewerage system haijafika 100%, lakini we are above 60%. Ya kwamba in terms of sewer coverage, kila mmoja uchafu ambao unatoka kwa nyumba yake lazima uwe connected kwa the main sewer line. Na kama hauja connect, then you must come up with a way of making sure that your sewer system inaingiza mahali, whether it's a soak pit, whether it's a biodigester, just to make sure that our environment is clean. However, I agree with you, and it's high time the county government take responsibility and make sure that sanitation in Mombasa improves, because we are county 001 and we must lead from the front.
All right. Now let's look at some let's look at the annulment. So President Ruto annulled a 60-year-old ban that requires residents of border areas to undergo screening before obtaining ID cards. And this he did while he visited Wajir County. What does this mean? Because I know people already, there are those who are coming up and saying, if you do it in that border, then do it in this other border. What does it mean for the president to say that those residents, the vetting should not be done when it comes to their identification?
I think swali ambayo tunafaa kujiuliza, has this been done for political expedience ama imefanywa kwa sababu inastahili kufanyika?
Yeah.
Because the question comes in, how are we going to control the infiltration of the whole system, getting people coming, illegal immigrants coming now into the country and being allowed to become residents? How are we going to control our businesses? Ya watu ambao watatoka kule wakuje huku now, instead of them doing business as foreigners, now they're coming to do business as citizens, as residents. So tunajua hili ni swala ambalo limefanyika kisiasa.
Okay, so you're saying it's politically instigated.
Of course, it's political.
Why?
It's political because we are headed into elections, and we know we are being led by a leader who is, allow me to say, cunning, and will force his way in by whatever means. So as at now, kuondoa hiyo ban ya kufanya vetting, tunabaki na swali la how are they going to authenticate the genuineness of anyone who is being allowed to become a Kenyan citizen. It's even putting our country at risk, because for the last 10 years we have been victims of terrorism, and we are not saying that the Somalis are terrorists. We have Somalis that we are living with who are our friends, and we are living well with them. But the few elements who will take advantage, there are few elements who will take advantage of this. So how are they going to control that? So we are aware that many schemes are being put in place for 2027, and we as Kenyans, we are not fools. We must now open our eyes and see why all this is happening.
Could we see this happen in other borders?
If they've lifted that ban in Mandera, then why should they not lift the ban along Lunga and Busia borders? They should do the same, so that anybody from Tanzania can become a Kenyan citizen without much vetting, if they are honest in their decision.
Yes. Gonna.
Mheshimiwa.
Yes.
Umezungumza, yani tu, I don't want to use that, talk to me Loreno, wacha ilikae ndani. Hatua ya rais ni kuhakikisha kwamba kwanza alienda kule swala la mifugo kudungwa chanjo. Tunajua the Lapset project, miongoni mwa biashara kubwa ambayo kwamba itatumika nayo ni biashara ya mifugo, kusafirishwa kwenda nje ya nchi, na wale wakapokea hiyo. And then kitu chengine ambacho kwamba alikuwa nafaa kuantize nacho ni hili swala. So umesema hili swala litatumika ama litatumika kisiasa?
Si litatumika, lishatumika.
Yes. Kisiasa. Yes. Kama linatumika kisiasa, to what extent? Kwa sababu hapo unalenga numbers. Wale jamaa kura zao I think ni watu 800,000 na kitu kama hicho. So unataka kutuambia hapa kwamba watu wanalenga kuongeza idadi ya kura katika eneo la kaskazini mashariki?
Barisa, now if you don't have controls of who becomes a citizen, how will we know who were registered between this period, between now and 2027?
Now that kuna option ya kuhesabu tena watu upya.
We can easily say that there were over 400 residents in Mandera or in the northern part of Kenya who were not voters because they did not have ID cards. So what will happen if now they are allowed to get ID cards and become voters? Will you have control over it? Will you be able to confirm that this person has been in Kenya for the last 5 years? The answer is no. So systems are being made to make them porous, so that when it rains, then it pours.
Sasa tukiangalia lililofanyika, ni kwamba sasa rais akisema vile ni final, ama sasa ilifaa kuwa pengine na maprocedure fulani, kwa sababu 60 years ilikuwa iko hivyo. Then all of a sudden president amesema sasa inafaa kuwa hivyo.
It's a decree of the president. So, and you see he is the commander in chief. and the head of the government.
So his word is final.
It may not be final unless someone goes to court to challenge the same. But as it stands now, his word is final, because all the county commissioners and everybody who is at the registration desk, they're under his instructions. So unless someone, maybe Salim Barisa, you will go to court today and get court orders to stop the same. You have the guts.
Me?
Yes, you.
So I do have lawyer Ndegwanjiru.
Yes.
He said that he will challenge the directive made by President William Ruto to scrap vetting processes for identification cards. And then Akasema that the president's decision is reckless, saying this could have far-reaching implications in Kenya's security.
Absolutely.
Why are we compromising the security in the country for political gain?
Does that bring another question? Are our leaders competent to be in those offices? Did the president look at the implication? That's why I was saying this whole thing was done for political expedience, endearing himself to the people of Northeastern. I can tell you for a fact, nobody who has now been cleared to be a legal Kenyan, a legal resident in Kenya, can vote against this president who came up with that directive. Because one of the things that has made many people suffer in this country, that you are unable to do business, you are unable to transact, you are unable to access anything, is the lack of a national ID card. So if these people have ID cards, then it means they'll be able now to do anything that they have not been able to do. So you have already endeared yourself to them. But the issue here comes in, as Njirundego has said, what is the security implication to this? And not only about security, but even about the competition that now will come in between the really residents and those who became residents by virtue of the orders of the president. Kibiashara, like right now, you go to Eastleigh, every story building skyrocketing. You know who owns it, including in Mombasa. Now tumeongezewa wanakuja.
Unajua kwenye miaka 60 rais wa pili wa hii nchi aliweka ile agizo kwa sababu ya masuala ya kiusalama, mashifta miaka hiyo, ambao ilikuwa iko very rampant. Ukienda Tana River, maeneo ya huko ilikuwa iko juu. Stories za mashifta sasa hivi hakuna. Lakini pia stories za Al-Shabaab, story ya karibuni ni hii ya machief. Which stories za Al-Shabaab pia tulikuwa tumekab. So ni hii incident ya juzi tu ambayo kwamba imetokea chief ambao wametekwa, na rais alisimama kidete akasema kwamba hao watarudi.
Kwa hivyo anajua wako wapi?
Watarudi kwa sababu vyombo vya usalama vya hapa nchini vitafanya kazi yake. So swala la usalama ni kama ambaye hakuna taharuki na tashwishi kubwa. So kwa nini mseme kwamba hili litatumika kisiasa?
You see what is happening here, tunashika makaa na moto, bare hands. Kwa sababu kama tumehangaishwa na hili swala la usalama as a country, including our own systems in the country, bado tunahangaishwa kama haya mahangaiko tunayoyaona Likoni. Leo hii utuambie you now go ahead to open the borders because scraping off the vetting ni kama kufanya mipaka yetu sasa imekuwa open for anybody to access the country. We are on our own as a country. Scraping off the vetting is like now saying there will be no check-in points from other countries to Kenya. And it's so reckless of the government to do that. Every other country, including the United States, they're trying to tighten their borders so that when you come in as a tourist, because now that will be a source of income and we are going to get taxes out of it to build our nation.
Mheshimiwa, mimi kitu ninachokiona hapa si kwamba ni wale watu watakao toka nje. Mipaka haitaachwa wazi kwa watu kuingia. Lakini kuna wale watu ambao kwamba ni wazaliwa wa maeneo hayo ya mipakani ambao kwamba wanaonekana kama si wa huku, ndio watafanywa vetting.
Barisa.
Yes.
Do you know how many Do you know how many immigrants we have in Mombasa who are not voters, who are not residents, who don't have ID cards?
I don't have the data.
I also don't have, but I know they're there. We have so many people right now who are in Kenya, na vile waliingia hatujui waliingia vipi. In fact, I had a story from someone someday that including some of the lorries that come from Northeastern, at times they're ferrying people. Inaenda nashukisha mzigo na watu wanaingizwa kwa container wanaletwa. Na wanakuja wanashukishwa mahali kama Macnon Road ambako nobody cares. Wanashuka, sasa wanaanza kuingia mtaani, unakutana na mtu ambaye hujamuona tangu uzaliwe, and that person now becomes a resident in that area. So ukisema kwamba si kufungua mipaka, in other words, ni kufungua mipaka. Ni vile tunajaribu kuipea to a good name that we are now scraping off the vetting.
Yeah.
We're going to see a very ripple effect in the whole thing. Let us just give it time. Time will unveil the truth behind the scraping.
Well, we are...
Na nisikujiwe na Subaru.
I just want to give you some figures here.
Yes.
As of May 31st, the total number of immigrants in Kenya... I'm going to get to in a hang because I want us to state some facts. Sorry. I'll get back with that data. But we are speaking to Honorable Frankline Makanga. He's the MCA Chani Ward, and we're looking at the state of the nation. What question do you have? 0700-917-917.
Mheshimiwa, juzi koti pale iliweza kurule kwamba Kenya kwanza haipasi kuwa the ruling. Sijui what next after this court ruling on Azimio being the majority party.
Wajua kufikia sasa kile ninachojua ni kwamba serikali imekuwa moja. Washaiita broad based government. So I think even that judgment from the judiciary, because it's from the judiciary arm of the government. In other words, it's like double speak. Kwa sababu mimi ninaamini nikiwa pia nimesomea sheria na nikahitimu, nikatawazwa mwezi wa 12 ya kwamba justice delayed is justice denied. If this case was filed in 2022, then they deliver judgment 2 years later when we are halfway the term of this leadership. Hii ni sawa na kutaka kugonganisha taifa kwa sasa na kuleta commotions ambazo hazistahili. Why the judgment now, after the country has moved on, the scars have healed and we have forgotten that kuna haki haikufanyika. So hii ni nyingine ambayo it's meant to stir a political environment, and I can tell you it's not out of goodwill, kwa sababu hawa ndio walitupilia kesi iliyopelekwa kotini kwamba kulikuwa na wizi wa kura, and one of the reasons why they were saying Azimio when Kenya Alliance won was because of the numbers they had, because that is one of the things. How can you be the president when you don't have the numbers? And then these people quickly, wakati hiyo kesi kiendelea, the president and his leadership led by the former deputy president Rigathi Gachagua, they moved in swiftly to make sure that wale waliokuwa Jubilee ambao wako Azimio wakachukua the team that was coming from Wajir, led by Roba, wakawaingiza nao kwa their alliance. So tumeona hakuna uaminifu katika masuala ya the political parties and the registrar and everything. So hii judgment imetolewa, isituchanganye, isitufanye watu waanze tena kukosana. I think it's time we just move on. Tumalizie, kama ni kubadilisha serikali watu wabadilishe in 2027.
I think you've said it, because my question was, why are they making the ruling now? Like why is it coming up now? For what purpose? You know? And and I think also that leads us to looking at now the role of the speaker. When he made that declaration, are they trying to look at his indiscretion, if there has been in any way? Because now, hapa wanasema Azimio comprised 26 political parties, whereas Kenya Kwanza had only 15. That was back in 2022. Okay, so who failed Kenyans here? Is it the court?
Absolutely, it's the court.
Yeah.
It's the court. And you see, it's also very sad to note the person of the state of the speaker. As much as was expected of him to be impartial in making that judgment.
Yeah.
But you can imagine where he was taking his orders from. This is someone who had been promised, and he was part of the alliance. He was part of the strategists. So, of course, they had to do anything and everything to skew the decision to make Kenya Kwanza become the ruling party in the assembly. Yes. So he couldn't go against the orders of his boss, who is the president. Na yeye hangesema kwamba sasa, angesema kwamba now Azimio ndio wengi, maybe they will have toppled the decision of him becoming the speaker.
Would you say the speaker is compromised?
Definitely. I think we are even late to say that. We should have said the same many months ago. Yeah.
So after hii ruling sasa inamaanisha sasa speaker anaweza kuandamwa sasa.
Do the parliamentarians have the guts? The question is the legislative arm of the national government independent? The answer is no.
Yeah.
So they will all sing the tune of their master. Wataikewa beat na waonyeshwe how to dance the rhythm. Yeah. We don't have an independent legislature in Kenya.
What does that mean now? Because we're heading towards elections.
Yes.
What does that mean?
What means is, you see, the issue of political parties and political patronage is what ails this country and denies this country good leadership. Myself, I was elected on an independent ticket, and I believe I have every right to question the governor as long as I don't understand what he is doing.
Yeah.
Now, the problem with Kenyan politics is when you are in a certain political party, then the decision of the political party, whether good or bad, you have to defend that decision. And that is what has caused all this.
Do you have to? I think what I struggle with, Franklin, is do you have to defend like completely? So let's say you're in the ruling party. Everything they say, whether right or wrong, does it mean that if you're in that party, you have to consistently say yes? When they say jump, you ask how high?
You need to have balls big enough to go against political party that sponsored you into the parliament. Yes. Kwa sababu wewe utasema hapa, mimi siungani na hiyo.
Yeah.
And then the political party will get you frustrated, including recalling you.
Yes.
We saw what happened to Jalango. Immediately he went to State House. Yeah. Tulimuona akifukuzwa kwa mikutano, na kosa kubwa ni kwenda tu State House kuomba miradi ya serikali ya watu wake wa Lang'ata.
Yeah.
Lakini wakati hawa wengine wameenda mpaka wamefika mahali wako, hawa wengine mnawajua. We've not had anything happening. Na sasa akatakaswa kwamba sasa hata wewe ulichokifanya na mtoto ulikuwa unakusumbua, lakini hata sisi wakubwa wako pia sisi sasa tumekuja tuko kwa meza. So the whole thing, Karo, about the leadership in Kenya is about personal interests.
Okay. Mheshimiwa Makanga,
Yes.
hii historia ya vyama, mchafuko wake umeanzia kwa msajili wa vyama vya kisiasa. Hapo pia pana tatizo lake, au ni huku kwa wanasiasa peke yake?
Wajua, shida ya afisi zetu nyingi za kiserikali, hata kama zimeambiwa they are independent offices, there are always forces that control them from afar. Na hiyo ndio shida ya Kenya. Mimi nakwambia ukweli, hii hewa tunapumua ni vile Mungu peke yake ndo ana control. Otherwise, our political leaders who have made themselves demigods, wangetaka pia hii wawe wanatupimia. Barisa leo utavuta 80% ya oxygen, Gona wewe utavuta 30% ya oxygen. The reason why hawezi kutukontrolea is because it's out of their control. But anything else under the sun in the Kenyan soil, there's political interference in it.
All right. Yeah. There's a comment here, Mr. Makanga.
Yes.
Good morning, Ma. Manasema, I think Mr. Makanga is being too harsh on the president. Northeastern's main problem is earning a citizenship in Kenya, just like in Coast, it's land ownership. And the dominant tribe in the area is subjected to a lot of prejudice because of who they are. However, it doesn't mean that they are all connected to the terrorist groups. So I think the president was only trying to solve a problem here. They've lived in the country for a long time but haven't gotten a citizenship status because of the many hurdles in the process of getting one. So I think the president was doing his work, and even if it was a political move, I think it's valid.
Now, Carol, maybe if I'm to respond to that comment. Now, if the issue was the issue of vetting, if there was inefficiency in the process, for us to be safe, it will have been easier and safer for us as a country to expedite the process. Ni nini ilikuwa inafanya hii process inakaa frustrating for the residents? Then they should have lifted those controls, not banning the whole process. Kama mtu ilikuwa vetting inachukua wiki nzima, they will have reduced it or maybe added more officers to make sure that it happens within a day.
Yeah.
And still they will have become residents. Why they lift? And now how are we going to control? And this must be on record. We are not saying that those people from Northeastern are terrorists. We are having Somalis who are genuine, who we are living with, who are our friends, who are our business partners. But our worry is this process will be infiltrated because there's someone who will come with money. We know how our system works. All our system is rotten. Corruption is everywhere. Now with the lifting, how are we going to control someone coming with 5 million to have his 2 children being registered as Kenyan residents? How are we going to control that?
Food for thought.
Pengine sasa kwa sababu pia ulitaja mambo ya parties na vile ambavyo kunaenda. Tumeona pia aliyekuwa naibu rais. Yeye pia naye amejitokeza akasema ana mpango wa kuzindua his own political party. Swala hili wewe unaliangaliaje?
Ni haki yake ya kikatiba. Anaruhusiwa kufanya hivyo. Swali ni chama hiki anachotaka kukitengeneza, lengo lake na maudhui yake ni gani? Because he's one of the people who caused trouble in the Kenyan politics for 2 years. He's a man who believes in shares. He's a man who believes that he who gets must get everything. So he's not someone that we can trust with our country. So akuje na political party gani, he remains to be the Gachagua we know. Someone who is a tribalist, an extremist, somebody who doesn't care about other tribes, but cares about the Mount Kenya region. And we have no issues with Mount Kenya. We have married from that side. We love them, we cherish them, and we are happy living with them. But we have an issue with the persona of Gachagua. Yes.
Now, when he forms that party, after the ruling, after his impeachment, can he vie?
Now, it depends with what the ruling will say.
Or is he going to choose somebody to be a candidate?
And that's why I've said the issue of political parties is about making someone a demigod. There's someone who believes without his word, then Franklin cannot become an MCA. And that's happening everywhere, including in Mombasa. There's someone who sits somewhere and says, without me, you can't become the governor. You can't become the MCA, which is wrong. I think the issue of who becomes a leader should be left to the electorates so that they're able to vet out and see who suits them to serve them in what capacity. So he's forming this party so that now he can go to the table where the menu is being made to also make sure that he adds some spices and he has a share in it. So whether ataruhusiwa kuvai ama hataruhusiwa, as long as ako na political party, ataingiza mtu wake. So akiingiza kama ni wabunge 5 and every month everyone brings him 200,000, that's $1 million, he is as good as elected.
He just wants to be in control.
Broker.
All right. Now, Mr. Franklin, what kind of a country do you want to see?
The country that I want to see is a country where everybody has been given an opportunity, just like Chani residents gave me an opportunity being a youth in my early 30s to lead them irrespective of my age, tribe, and background. So that is the country that we want. A country where there's fairness, a country where justice will not be delayed for 2 years for it to be delivered at the middle of the term. A country where is corruption free, a country where political leaders keep the promises they made to the people when on top of the cars. A country where anybody can become what they want to become without having to know who the governor is, who the president is, who Waziri is. A country where everybody has an equal opportunity, and a country that respects and lays foundation for our youth. I being a youth, that we will have a youth who will be responsible group for the future, kwa sababu hawa vijana sahi tunaona wanahangaika, and the government is full of old men who some are retiring in few years, but they don't want to leave the offices for the young people. Kesho hawa vijana wataongozwa na nani kama sahi we can't give them an opportunity to serve themselves? Yeah, that's the country that I want. A country that doesn't have to read or to know your last name, whether wewe ni Ochieng ama wewe ni Kamau, to get opportunities. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. It's been good having a conversation with you.
Thank you.
Very candid. We've been speaking to Honorable Frankline Makanga, MCA Chani Ward. In a bit, we're going to talk to Garib and understand why Generation Z cannot keep jobs. Ooh-wee. Fire.